When I turned 18, I was like, you know what? I don't want to do school out here. I don't want to go to school out here anymore. I want to go to LA and I want to make music because, like I said, you know, at a certain time, you realize that school is bullshit. I didn't even tell my parents. I didn't tell my parents I was leaving until like a week before. It's like I'm out. Yeah, they hate me for that. But it worked out well, you know?
Everybody shut the fuck up!
He does the thing.
Shut the fuck up! Interview time.
All right.
Swag.
Post. Let's begin at the beginning.
Okay. That's
Where were you born?
Where it all begins. I was born in Syracuse, New York, man.
Where were your parents born?
Syracuse, New York.
And
Maybe Rochester. I think my dad was born in Rochester. My mom was born in Syracuse.
And what was your father's profession?
Well, my dad worked at like a linen store. It's called Atlas. And then whenever I was a little youngster, my dad got a job with the Cowboys. That was his dream. His dream was to work for the Cowboys. And his friend Gary, rest in peace Gary, he got a job over there and he called my dad and he said, yo, come work here. And he started out as a popcorn guy and he worked his way up, man. So then we moved to Dallas.
And what was your mother's profession?
I think she worked there too. We never really talked about it much. I know she worked at Phoenix University once.
Gotcha.
That's all I know. That's the extent of my knowledge.
Yeah. Do you have any siblings?
Mm-hmm. I got my brother Jordan and my brother Mitchell. Jordan's older than me. Mitchell's like the same age as me.
Gotcha. Were you a well-behaved kid?
Yeah, I was pretty good. I was a good boy. I like to stay out of trouble. That's until like the end, like, cause I was a good kid till I was like 15, 16. I would tuck in my pants every day and I would go to school and I would just love school and I would try to get good grades. But then I realized, hey, this is bullshit. And I started skateboarding and getting into like punk rock and shit, like very transitional teenager shit.
Yeah.
And then I started falling off the grid.
So you talk about your father's influence on your music.
Right.
What were his favorite records?
Well, my dad listened to everything. It was a lot of, you know, if he was shoveling snow in New York or if he was mowing the lawn in Dallas, he was listening to like, you know, hip hop, rock, all that shit like Megadeth, Metallica, Ice-T, you know, Snoop, Tupac, Biggie, all that stuff. So, you know, he really raised me to appreciate all different types of music.
I was going to ask you what the most important lesson you learned from him was, but it sounds like that was it.
Yeah, he taught, like, if he taught me anything that applies to my life today is you know, just give everything a chance, give it a listen, don't judge it off the bat, you know, just let it rock the whole way through and then tell me what you think. And he also taught me you can't make everybody happy, which is very true. Yeah. And I've learned that in music industry.
Yeah. When did you move to Dallas?
I moved to Dallas when I was like 8. So I was like, I'm 21. I moved to Dallas.
13 years ago.
Yeah, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at math.
Yeah. And a couple of years later, you picked up Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
And you taught yourself guitar after that.
Yeah, I got Guitar Hero, and I was snapping.
Yeah.
I'm like 5-star everything on like expert. That's 5 buttons. Everybody, that's the one with the orange button on it. And then I picked up a real guitar. I told my mom to get me a guitar for Christmas.
Yeah. Was it acoustic or electric?
It was electric.
Yeah.
It was a Washburn.
Oh yeah.
A Washburn Lion, I think it was called, and it came with a little amp and everything.
Sweet. What was the first song you learned to play?
How
did you teach yourself to play it?
I think the first song I learned to play was Master of Puppets, and that sounds really basic. I feel like a lot of people pick up an electric guitar and they're like, I need to learn how to play this song. Or Smoke on the Water. This is the most basic first song to learn, but I mean, you got to start somewhere, you know what I mean?
How did you teach yourself, like, tabs and chords and stuff like that? Where did you find all that? Like,
I mean, there's a great guitar site, great guitar tablature website called ultimateguitar.com, and it's super lit. It'll teach you everything that you ever need to know. And I really just watch a lot of YouTube videos. I watch a lot of people jamming and shredding, and it took a long time because I used to suck. I was really bad.
Yeah.
But I mean, you don't know anything, Smitty. You pick up an axe and start shredding. Good. No, but it's like you got to start somewhere. You know, you always start, and then you just got to stick with it because a lot of people want to give up whenever they first start something. And they're like, "Oh, I'm not good at this."
Yeah. How can you tell when you should give something up and focus on something else you might be better at?
I mean, I don't think there's ever really time for that. Because fuck it, right? You got to keep on going. Because there's always going to be setbacks. There's always going to be knockdowns. There's always going to be people telling you, hey, you suck. Yeah. But you just got to keep on rocking. If you really love it, keep on going. But if you don't even like it, then don't do it no more, you know? Because it's you at the end of the day, you know?
And so a couple years after that, you found a computer program called Audacity.
Yeah.
And how did you find it?
I just looked up, how can I record myself? Yeah. And I didn't have any money. Yeah. I was, I worked at Chicken Express. Yeah. Shout out to Chicken Eat on Kimball. But it's like, you wanna make music so bad, but you don't know how. Yeah. And you don't have the money, and it's so out of your reach. It's like so out of your grasp, and it's just tough to find a way that you could get a medium of yourself out there. So I got FL Studios. How do I make beats? How do I record myself? And then I just started making music from then.
Yeah. And so you made your first mixtape with Audacity.
Yes, I did. All my beats. I made all the beats.
Yeah. Few years after that, you went to LA.
Yeah. I made my first mixtape, I was like 15, 16, like right there in the interim period. And at that time, I was in like 4 different bands and just making any music I could. And when I turned 18, I was like, you know what? I don't want to do school out here. I don't want to go to school out here anymore. I want to go to LA and I want to make music because, like I said, at a certain time, you realize that school is bullshit. Mm-hmm. And you just want to do what you love. And I didn't love school. I loved music. So I was just like, I'm moving out to LA with my friend, and he's got money and I don't, so don't worry. So he'll take care of me until, I get somewhere, and then I'll repay the favor, and then, here I am,
Did you have a plan when you?
Hell no. I didn't even tell my parents. I didn't tell my parents I was leaving until like a week before.
Oh, jeez.
Like, I'm out.
Wow.
Yeah. They hate me for that. But it worked out well,
Who are First and Rich?
There's FKI. Yeah. That's the squad.
Yeah.
I met them in LA.
I
was at a party. Well, I was having a party at my friend's house, and do my chanclas look weird? Like, I was having a party. I'll keep them out of frame. Can I get a Belmont too? Shout out to Canada. I was at a party, and I was asking anybody if they knew a place where I could record and make music, like, seriously, like with good sound and shit. And he was like, my friend was like, hey, I have a studio, and it happened to be Stevie B's studio. And we went there, and they were like, hey, we know FKI, and I already knew FKI from, being in school and everything, and, it's like dope party music. So they flew in, and then we started making music, and we just bonded, and we lived together and turned up and made cool shit and just had a good time and became brothers.
Yeah. The song that made you famous, White Iverson, was recorded 2 days after you wrote it.
Yeah, a couple days after I wrote it. Yeah, no, in the morning, everybody was going to bed, and I was like kind of like nervous. I was like, are people gonna like this? Like, cause I've never, that's the first time I really made a track like that. And I was like, are people gonna like this? So I just kept my mouth shut and waited till the end of the night. And I was like, hey, can I record myself on your computer? And then he taught me how to do like a brief crash course, and he was like, no, I'm gonna record this. This is fire. Yeah. And so we recorded it early in the morning, and it was just a very spur of the moment type of shit, man.
From the beginning of that, like the first day of those 2 days of writing to first recording it, walk us through that process. Like, when you're not writing, what did you do during those like 48 hours? Like, hang out, video games?
Yeah, I mean, shit, that's all I really do. That's all I do anyways.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's
even
like a regular day aside from the writing.
Yeah. So I recorded, because I had the first verse written, so I wrote the first verse. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to bed, because it was fucking 9. And I was like, okay, I've had enough. And then I woke up a couple days later and we had to finish it because I was like, I want to put this out. This song is dope. So I sat there and wrote the second verse, and it was getting mastered and all that shit. And nobody wanted me to put that out, but I just put it out and went about my life. And then I woke up like the next morning or the day after morning, and shit was wild.
Yeah.
And it's really a surreal story. It's like a movie story, and I don't know how I got lucky, but I must have done something very nice in a past life and gotten very lucky.
Perhaps.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm serious about that Belmont though. Does everybody have one?
I have a Camel Crush.
Oh yeah, load it up, baby boo.
So you have a few hits now, quite a few hits. Which of your songs or what part of the body of work you have do you wish more people knew about, or do you wish was more famous?
Shit. I mean, I guess the shit that I made before. Thank you, mama. I guess before the shit that I started popping, because I recorded a lot of acoustic shit, like
I saw one of the videos.
before all that
A
shit.
Dylan
Yeah, the
cover,
Bob
I
Dylan
think.
cover
Yeah,
and shit. And I'm still doing that shit right now, and I can't wait. It's in the works, but I can't wait to put it out. It's
Sweet.
like whole acoustic folk type of swag shit that I just wrote, and you know, I think it has a really cool vibe, and I think it's a really important vibe for music. I think we need something like that. You know, there's a lot of recycled bullshit out there. I mean, almost the majority of it
Yeah.
is just the same song over and over again. I think it's time for a change. We need to turn up on them real quick. You dig?
So you've been in the studio with some really interesting, successful people. What were the most memorable learning experiences?
I mean, there's a lot of experience. I've been in the studio with Kanye. I've been in the studio with Justin, with Pharrell.
What did you learn from them?
I mean,
Each of them.
they have a really dope recording process. Like, they're just, you know, they have fun and all that, but then they get into the booth, knock it out, and then they do all that. And it's like, I focus on the way that they wrote, and, you know, from then on, I started doing stuff like that. Like, I used to write all my shit before I got into the booth. But, you know, watching them do, like, a scratch take, like, get the melodies and all that shit right, I think that's when I started really, like, developing a sound. Because, you know, you don't have to worry about what you're saying. You can just be drunk and mumbling, and it sounds dope. Because as long as you got the melodies there, and then you can go back and write words.
Yeah, that was a really good point with the scratch take.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what other things like that, you know, tactics, did you kind of get from them,
I mean,
or even just watching everyone?
I mean, they're incredible to work with. Like Pharrell making a beat, watching him make a beat, Kanye watching him do the scratch, Justin with his fucking pipes of gold. It's really surreal watching like these geniuses do what they do best, and you know, you just try to pick up everything that you can about them. Like the first time I met Justin, we had a beer and we just knocked like 3-4 songs out in one night, and he's got the work ethic. Like, just keep on going. You can't get tired in the studio, and it's really tough. But you just gotta keep on going. You know what I mean?
What do you
It's
do
a
when you
work
get tired?
Beer bong. Take a beer bong. It wakes me up, and then I get back in there. I'm like, fuck it, I'm ready to go. You know, wild boy.
So you met Kanye West at Kylie Jenner's birthday party, and then you were on the first studio version of Fade. Fade. But walk us through from the point you met him to the first time you heard that first studio version. What was that process like, and what was that creative process like working with him?
So I met him at the party, and he said, I fuck with you, like, let's get into the studio, let's make some music, and you know, you're not gonna say no, you say hell yeah. And then we got into the studio, or actually not me, it was Shay, and we were in New York at Germano Studios where he recorded a bunch of his stuff at, and he sent me a bunch of songs, and then that one, you know, just kind of stuck out, and I did a scratch, and then we met at his compound thing in LA, and I finished it up, and he was there, and we were drinking Fireball and having fun. And you know, that's when it really came together as a song, because I had finished my lyrics, he had finished his lyrics, and they just had the composition, of a song, So it's a long process. It's a long process because everybody's busy. I'm busy, he's busy, everybody's busy. So it takes a while, but whenever it comes together, it's worth it.
Yeah. Usually, I ask people what they would go back and tell their 20-year-old selves, but you're a very young man, so if you could go back and say something to your 12 or 15-year-old self, what advice would you give them?
I would tell them leave the band, focus on yourself because they're just holding you back. Don't listen to nobody. Kids was I had a little like a Jufro, and they would throw gum in my hair and pick on me. Yeah, I know. Fun pussy. And look at me now. Fuck you. But I just tell them keep on rocking. Don't listen to nobody. Keep on going. Make the music that you love. Don't listen to what nobody says. And you're gonna do good. You're gonna be proud of yourself if you just keep on rocking. There are some times where I just want to quit making music, especially in that region, because hormones and shit. But I'm glad I stuck with it. But I would just tell them to leave your band.
Do you ever feel like you want to quit now?
Not really. I mean, shit sometimes, because I'm about to be on the road for like 9 months this year, so it's just like, it's tough.
You did 14 shows at South by Southwest.
Yeah, man. That was like when
How did you, how?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was just like we went to South by, and my manager was like, hey, you have 14 shows, dude. Fuck yeah, dude, let's do it. And it was a blur of Bud Light and singing. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, sounds like it. If you weren't a musician right now, what would your full-time profession be?
I'd probably be working at Chicken E. Probably working at Chicken Express. Or maybe I would I don't know. If I had never made music ever?
If you or if you had a choice to pick another occupation.
Oh, if anything in the whole world. I would not be a Chicken Express. I don't know. I'd probably be like an oil guy. I would get into oil.
A mogul, oil mogul.
Like a nice entrepreneur. I might have an app or two. I would have invented Uber. Stuff like that.
I believe that.
Google. I would have invented Google. There's so many things that I would do. I would just be like the smartest person in the world, if I had another choice.
Yeah. I think we're about to wrap this interview up, this conversation up. For all the kids out there watching, they're like chasing their dreams. Mm-hmm. What do you want to leave them with? What would you say to them?
I guess just keep on going. Like I said, man, don't let no kids throw gum in your hair. Turn around, sock them in the mouth. Turn up. Keep on doing you. Don't worry about sounding like nobody else. If you like it, keep on rocking. It's gonna be slow. It's gonna be tough. You're gonna want to give up, but just keep on going, man. You know what I mean? Keep on rocking. Be yourself. Be true. It's lit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Post, man. Thank you so much. This was a great conversation, man. Really appreciate it.
It's lit. Thank you.